A very good evening to all our viewers. This is Anand Kamath and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Today is the last session of the year 2020. We started the live webinars from May 3rd when Prema Kakade took us to Nepal. Any guesses how many sessions we had since then? The answer is 42 sessions. And for today's webinar, our presenter will take us to a photography tour to three vibrant cities of Italy, that is Venice, Lake Como, and Cinque-Terre. But before we start our presentation, there are some key announcements. On 3rd January, we have a presentation titled From Guns and Scalpels to Telephotos by Dr. Harinarayan Salunki. Dr. Salunki is a life member of YPS and has also served as YPS Vice President for one term. And he'll be talking about the art of photography and storytelling by a non photographer. So ensure you don't miss this session. The Drishti magazine for December is on the stands. Download your copy now on YPS website. Becoming a YPS member is very easy. You can visit the YPS Bengaluru website or scan the QR code on your screen and it will take you directly to the membership page. We are available on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube with the same handle, which is YPS Bengaluru. Please go and follow us. And if you're on YouTube, then don't miss to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon so that you can receive the notifications and uh, you can follow our page going forward. To get notifications about YPS programs on your phone, you can subscribe by sending a message start to the official YPS number along with your name. The YPS number is 9513 YPSBLR, which is 9513 977 257. On the same number, you can also request for a copy of Drishti magazine so that we can get you listed in the subscription list. Yes. Italy is a country with rich history, amazing cities, and wonderful food. For the last presentation of this year, titled Italiana, let us all welcome Dr. Vijay Raghavan, Mr. Vijay Raghavan.
Yeah, hi, thanks.
Good evening, Vijay. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks, fine. And yeah, so as I said, this is the last presentation for YPS for this year. And
Yes.
yeah, I would say that thanks to YPS these weekend sessions over last many weekends, although we were having restricted travel all around, but thanks to a lot of people who have provided these sessions, we were treated to a virtual guided visit of many interesting places of the world and also learned a lot of new aspects of photography, with them. So keeping up with the same tradition, today I would be speaking about three different water-based regions in Italy, and each of them having their unique association with water, from the canals of Venice through the villages of Lake Como and across the ocean sides of Cinque Terre. Now, each city is uniquely beautiful. And one thing that you will notice is that they will all guarantee a welcome break from the hustle and bustle of our urban city sightseeing and all the traffic honking noises that you might hear regularly. So let's get on with it. So when, as you can see that,
Before that, let me introduce our viewers to Mr. Vijay. So, Mr. Vijay is a tech professional based in Bangalore. So, he is a passionate traveler who has traveled to over 50 scenic cities across 12 countries. In 2007, he won a digital camera in a lucky draw, and since then, he got a chance to photograph all these 12 countries in the best form that we can think of. Soon in 2009, he got a chance to travel to France and spend nearly 10 years there. It is here where he really got smitten with travel photography. So his works has been exhibited in many print exhibitions in France, and even his photographs have been published in many magazines like National Geographic, Now it is our turn to get smitten by Mr. Vijay's photography. The weather outside is amazing, so grab your favorite beverage and enjoy a virtual tour of these water-based places of Italy. The subtitles can be controlled on your machine by controlling the CC button on your application. Now over to you, Vijay. Vijay, I think you are on mute. So
Yeah. Thanks, Anand. So let's bring up the screen. Started sharing the screen. Just a second. So let's get started. So as I said that, yeah, we will be moving away from the hustle and bustle of our cosmopolitan cities to something that is more extremely colorful and serene. So let's get on with the presentation. So, uh, so the three regions that I'm talking today, all are based in the northern part of Italy. So we have the Venice here, the Lake Como, and the five villages of Cinque-Terre. Let's start off with Venice. So with its canals, gondolas, and winding streets, it needs no introduction, and it's like one of the most romantic and most famous cities in the world. Venice actually is not just a single island; it's basically an archipelago of 118 islands along the Adriatic Sea, and separated by around close to 180 canals. It is known by many names like City of Masks, Water, City of Adriatic, and and in the mainland, the two main attractions are basically the Saint Mark's Square and the Rialto Bridge, and there are other attractions also in the other surrounding islands. So I would be talking mostly from the various photo locations that from where I took the photo, how I took it, and what was the idea behind the various compositions. So let's get started. So the first one is the Rialto Bridge. So this is like one of the most famous iconic landmarks of Venice. Now, Venice, as such, has been like been a very big economical powerhouse in the medieval century, and like it was its own republic at one time, an economic powerhouse, and many buildings and bridges like this are very ornately designed. And this bridge called Rialto Bridge was constructed around 1591. Now, if you go there, you will find that there are shops on both the sides lined up with souvenir shops and other things, but the view is still very magnificent. And if you stand on the bridge itself, that's the view you get of the Grand Canal. And as you can see, that all the houses are basically give the impression of floating on water, and that's because that Venice is built on the millions of petrified logs that have been driven to the ground, and it started off around 5th century, the building of Venice. And these logs, because of the special properties, they were actually imported from countries like Slovenia and Croatia. And if you see here from in the Grand Canal, most of the transport is basically through the water buses, which they call as vaporetto. And here you can see that these are the kind of bus stops from where you can catch the vaporetto to travel to many different islands. If you stand on this bus stand, the view that you get is something like this. And here I shot it mainly because the the bus stop itself was giving a nice mirror reflection. But the most interesting thing that I found also here was that they have each bus stop has this big convex lens to help the water boats uh, in terms of whenever there's a good amount of traffic. But if you go up close, you will see a very nice reflection of the Grand Canal itself, and that makes up a very good composition with the Rialto Bridge at the background. And usually, whenever I do some travel, I try to ensure that if possible, I come back to the same place at different points in time, because those different points in time, be it sunrise or day or sunset, offer a very different dramatic and nice view of that place. So this very composition, like I came back during the sunset time, and this is the image that I captured. So this right hand side being that convex lens that you saw, and I had to wait for quite a good amount of time for this gondola to come close by. I mean, I thought that he might come close, but he didn't. But so this was the best shot that I could get. But you could see the winding Grand Canal as the in the reflection.
Around which season did you visit here? I mean, which month or season?
It was around the summertime only. Then the next one, which is like the most liveliest one, is the St. Mark's Square, also known as Piazza San Marco, and the St. Mark's Tower. Now, many spots, like when you're doing travel photography, many spots you can enjoy them by being there, or you can also enjoy them by having a bird's eye view. So, for example, if you look at the St. Mark's Square, so this is a bird's eye view of the St. Mark's Square, which is having many important buildings in the small region. So it's surrounded by like famous buildings, cafes, restaurant, boutiques, and the most liveliest place I would say in Venice. The pink building that you see on the bottom right and the right hand side is called Doge's Palace. And during the when Venice was a republic, this building was the administrative office of the republic, and also was the residence of the Doge, who was the biggest authority in the Venetian Republic. Then this is the church tower. Behind that is the main Saint Mark's Church, and these are very good examples of Gothic architecture. Now you can see the Saint Mark's Square from here, but when you are on the boat itself or from the sea, the view that you get is something like this. And already you can see that the hustle and bustle of this lively square. The thing that signifies Venice is this symbol of a winged lion, which is also the symbol of Saint Mark. Now, when you stand on the shores of the Saint Mark Square, you can see a lot of gondolas here, and these gondolas also make up for a very nice picture. You would have seen a lot of cliched shots that have been taken from this spot. So you can catch a very nice, blue image of the gondolas, and with the opposite island of San Giorgio Maggiore. Now, as I said, like many spots are enjoyed from when you are far away from it. So if you want to get a very nice panoramic view of Venice, you can go to instead of going up the church tower, which is on St. Mark's Square, which many people do. I found that if you go across and cross the island and cross the space to the San Giorgio Maggiore, uh, you climb the church tower there, and then you get a much better view of Venice, which is something like which brings us to the next photo location, which is something
We
like
have a question here, Vijay.
yeah.
Uh, yes. Let me read it out. How did you capture this bird's eye view? So this is a question by Dr. Ajit Huilgod.
Okay. I think this was a long time back, but I don't remember exactly from where I captured that. But
Actually, go back to the previous image. Sorry, not this is not the image.
yeah, I'm just going there.
Uh, the yes, this one.
I think given that at the time I'd used a Canon 1000D with a telephoto lens, most probably it was from the opposite island with a telephoto lens that I captured it. Otherwise, I think this composition would not have come because there is no, the only thing that is on the opposite side is that island.
Okay.
So yeah, so when you see from a wide angle perspective, this is what you see as a 180-degree view of Venice with with the Saint Mark's Square here and the other outer islands like this island of Giudecca, something like that. And the best part about these kind of church towers is that not only are they, let's say, places of worship, but they also doubled up mainly in those times as lighthouses for the ships. Now, when you are up here and looking at a panoramic view, we also notice that that most of the towers in Venice are not straight. They are a bit crooked, or I mean they're a bit tilted, and that's mainly because the land in Venice is not built on a very solid land, right? So you will see that there are many towers, and many of them being tilted in either direction. Now, coming back to the St. Mark's Square itself, now when the night arrives, most of the day tourists would have gone back, and one can really admire the expanse and the open space of this square, and even the bridges and other places become much more accessible and passable, and you can spend a really good amount of time strolling around here in the St. Mark's Square, and the best part also is that you can enjoy evening coffee, or even have a dinner where live orchestras are playing classical music and similar kinds, and you can really have a very nice ambience yeah, of the square. Then moving on to some outer islands, Murano and Burano. Murano is much more famous for his glass making skills, which they have been doing it for the past many centuries. So we saw a small, a very short glass making demonstration by an master craftsman who took a piece of molten glass and transformed it into a horse within, I think, within less than a minute, less than 2 minutes, I would say, faster than a Maggie. Then moving on to the nearby island of Burano. So many people, take photographs of these islands and show the colorful side of Venice, and that's the best part of it. That Burano, being a fishing village, the legend has it that the residents painted these houses in a vibrant color, mainly because so that they could get back during the morning fog after doing the fishing. So there is some logical reason why they are so vibrant. But nowadays, if anybody wants to go ahead and paint their houses in some color, there are strict restrictions. In fact, you just cannot go and choose your own color, and you need to take permission from the local government, and they choose the color for you, actually. And Burano is also historically, home to some exquisite lace making, and you can find shops where they sell handcrafted lace.
This is a question from Kashi Subramaniam. During tide, will the water level increase does it enter the land?
Well, during our stay, we didn't notice anything, but what I read was that usually they do sound an alarm when they see that when the levels are rising, and mainly due to not only just tide, due to some other reasons as well. So it seems that in the city they do have alarms for tourists to get away from the canal side, and whenever they think that the water level is going to rise soon. Then I would say that the best part of visiting any city, Venice or any other one also, is to get lost in the city. And Venice is so full of surprises that it can offer you some magnificent views at every turn. So you can go up and down many bridges and canals, and enjoy the roadside, the street side, the souvenir shops, and more importantly, the ice cream shops, which they call as gelatos, and the ice cream shops are called gelaterias. In fact, Venice has around 417 bridges, so you can keep walking and walking up and down. And one interesting thing is that given that this is a city built on canals, all the buildings here have entrance gates on the canal side. Then talking of the gondolas and the famous gondoliers, so there are estimated around 350 gondolas and 400 gondolieri in Venice, and each of these boats measure around 11 meters, and it's like around 600 kilos in terms of weight. it seemed that some few hundred years ago there were around thousands of gondolas, but now it has reduced significantly. And each year they give only license to 3 or 4 new ones after passing some strict tests, exams, and training. Now, when we talk about Venice, we talk about all the fascinating things about canals, and we have this we romanticize this vision of Venice, which is very beautiful and stuff. But also wanted to show some kind of the daily life aspects when you are especially walking down the narrow alleys, on uh, on not only how the residents live, and also maybe what we think as granted and what are the constraints they are facing. Like for example, if you walk down certain alleys, you will see that the walls of the facades of the buildings are like bit dilapidated, and even if you see that they have found ways to tie the clothesline up between the two buildings to dry their clothes, right? Imagine that like for us in Bangalore, like if the cloth falls down, you go down and pick it up. If this one falls down the canal and starts drifting away, you can say goodbye to it, right? Similarly, we can have, let's say, gardens and stuff to grow our veggies and things, but here, like, they're more constrained to grow things by the window. Similarly, if you are a shopkeeper, given that one good thing about Venice is there are no cars here and everything is by the boats. But then, if you are a shopkeeper and you have to, as part of your daily chores, you have to bring stuff from point A to point B, or if you dunzo something, think of the guy who is the dunzo guy who is going to point A to point B. How many bridges he has to cross going up and down with like this, right? So although we admire the bridges and stuff, it has its own constraints for the residents living there. Now, it's also said that the population of Venice has come down from like more than a lakh to around 50,000 in the last 30 or 40 years, and it's predicted that it could even become a ghost town by 2030, which where only tourists come by during the day.
Any specific reason why the population is decreasing?
One of the things also is that I think it said that Venice is sinking by 1 or 2 millimeters every year.
Mhm.
So as a precautionary measure, I think people are more going out, I guess. So yeah, and think of it that these are the apart from the big canals, there you have these kind of small lanes as well. And if you are taking a taxi or something like that, it's not like here if you get in a fight with your taxi driver, you just cannot open the door and go away, walk away, right? There's no option to even walk away here. And yeah, by the evenings you could see like elderly guys enjoying their nice evening time by the canal and doing their fishing. And yeah, and I think we cannot let's say talk about Venice and not talk about the mask. Uh, Although we didn't visit it during any festival time, and there are a lot of festivals usually going on in Venice, like the boat festival, the film festival, even the carnival. You will find that across all the streets, there are a lot of souvenir shops which are selling masks. And although we visited Venice like around 10 years ago, even at that time, this mask here, it costs around 1,300 euros. And given that 2020, we have passed through these times of Corona, there is this interesting analogy that we can see with the origin of these masks. Nobody knows how exactly the origin was, but one popular belief is that during the Dark Ages, around 1300s, when there was plague, around Europe, the doctors who were treating the plague doctors, uh, that they started treating them with a mask on, and that was specially called like a medico della peste mask, and it had a very long beak, and that was mainly to protect the doctors. So, and that's how they assume that from there the tradition of masks started. Then coming on to one of the last locations that I shot from was the Academia Bridge, and it's also one of the bridges that is one of the four bridges apart from the Rialto Bridge on the Grand Canal. Now, I shot this pic mainly to capture the hustle and bustle of the traffic on the Grand Canal. You can see the water space being shared by the gondolas, by the private taxis, the buses, the vaporettos, and many others. But what I could see is that everybody could go around smoothly, and you don't see any place like our Silk Road Junction there. And the bridge that you see here is the Academia Bridge, and the views that you get of the Grand Canal are pretty interesting. And usually, if you come here around during the golden hour, you can catch a very nice sunset view of uh, of the canal from this bridge. So this is the view that you get once you are on the canal. And this Basilica of Santa Maria della Salute is a good focus point. And I think that the images don't capture it in a fine way, but really when you're there during sunset time, it feels as if this entire region is floating over water. Now, if you want to catch some really good sunsets, one thing that I found was that you simply, during the sunset time or before that, you take a vaporetto from any point A to point B in the direction of the sunset. And really, you can enjoy, the sun going down nicely during the entire length of the trip. And it's really, really nice. Now, with tens of millions of tourists that come to Venice each year, although it looks very nice and really a very unique place to visit, I would not say that it's really the serene and most relaxing visit. For that, I would recommend that we then move on to Lake Como. So let's move on to the lakeside. So Lake Como is more in again the northern part of Italy, which comes in the Lombardy region. As you can see that the lake is in an inverted Y shape and surrounded by mountains and hills and dotted with beautiful villas and resort villages. So it's basically an hour's drive from Milan. The lake is pretty big. In fact, it's like close to 15 kilometers long, and the area is around 150 square kilometers. And in terms of the depth, also, it's like one of the deepest lakes in Europe, like around 400 meters deep. The three main, let's say, towns of interest here are Varenna here, and Bellagio, and Mennagio. And you can get to all these places via the water boats or the ferry, or even you can take rent your own motorboat and travel to all of these places. So, in terms of the different places, they again offer a different kind of experience, from a very rustic charm of in Varenna to a much more upscale view in Bellagio. We had taken an Airbnb flat apartment here next to Varenna in Fumilate. And the morning, when you open the windows, this is the view that we had from our, let's say, window or balcony. So treated to a very nice, let's say, picturesque view of the Alps and the clouds doing their fair bit of drama every day. And as you get down and walk around the lakeside, you can see a lot of villas there, and they're pretty colorful.
Uh,
So
People, our viewers who are Deepika Padukone fans would know that she got married in Lake Como. It was probably one of these villas.
Yeah, so yeah, of late, actually, in the last few years, Lake Como has become a very popular wedding destination point, it seems. So yeah, and it seems that this villa culture has been there for many centuries here, with from the Roman Empire time, with a lot of wealthy and powerful people coming and building villas near Lake Como. So let's go to the first location, which is Varenna. So this is I added some Google Earth images also so that we get a a bird's eye view of those places. And when seen from the lake waters, uh, what we can see is that Varenna is more like your everyday town and with sleepy lakes where sleepy lakeside communities are there with lots of colorful views and a nice harbor as well. So this is the view that you get from the lake itself. And the town is pretty small. I think it says that around 800 or so residents are only there. And it has a very nice promenade and a small harbor. And just like what I mentioned for Burano, here also the buildings have very strict rules in terms of how you can color them. So here also you need to take permission to color, to renovate your buildings. In fact, now you can there are a lot of gelaterias and restaurants across the waterfront, and if you sit in one of these restaurants here, you can spend hours gazing by the serene lake, and this is what you get when you're sitting in one of those restaurants. A very colorful view where homes and buildings of various shades of pastel, I would say, uh, are donning a nice cliffside and this harbor. So you can, we can go for a very leisurely breakfast and just sit there till even lunchtime, uh, enjoying the serene waters and the colors of the town. And one thing that I've noticed commonly in, even in many European towns, that whenever you're in an open restaurants, you need to share your lunch or your food with some of the pigeons as well. And locals don't mind as such. And yeah, here there was a very nice shop which was selling lavender from the region. So they painted everything in this lavender color. So it's kind of a small village kind of an atmosphere which is not overrun by tourists as such compared to Bellagio, and you can easily spend multiple days here in a calm and relaxed way. And not only that, the village looks impressive during, let's say, normal days, but even during rainy times it looks very nice. So I managed to shoot the same view in the rain as well, and it has its own nice charm in this kind of an atmosphere as well. And along the riverfront, you will find many people, painting the town of Varenna, which you can take home as souvenirs. And you won't find any streets in Varenna. All are cobbled stone, made of cobbled stones, streets and stepped lanes, I would say, and mix of stepped lanes and cobblestones. And that's my 5-year-old kid at the time enjoying his time eating gelatos to his heart's fill along the waterfront. So if you go up from the lake, you will reach the town's main square, which where there is church of San Giorgio there. Now let's move on to the next one, which is Bellagio. So that's how it looks, let's say, from a bird's eye view. So you can, as I said, you can come from Varenna to Bellagio either using your own private boat or rented boat, or the best is to take the ferry. And the views from the ferry also are pretty nice, because once you are in the lake, you can see the vast expanse of the lake, and you can really capture a wide panoramic view of the charms of the lake. Bellagio also, although it's not, it's very much more popular, especially now with a lot of Bollywood and other weddings happening there. Uh, it is the number of residents, I think, are around 3,000 to 3,500 who live there. It is like it's called as the pearl of the lake, and it has its own charm of a mix of old world elegance and new world luxury. So it has, I would say that compared to Bellagio, for me, Varenna offers a much more rustic charm, and Bellagio has more elegant shopping arcades and more of, let's say, luxury in it.
In Vegas, there is a casino named Bellagio, so
Hmm.
probably because of the luxury and the grandness, they have taken the name.
And also, like, although in the earlier times the aristocrats and the wealthy people made their villas here, but now it is the celebrities, especially the Hollywood celebrities, who have their villas, who have made this place much more popular. So we when we before we went there, we heard that George Clooney has a villa in Bellagio. We did search a bit, but we neither found him nor his villa. And the other celebrities that we heard of were like Brad Pitt, Madonna, and Leonardo DiCaprio. All have villas there. So, but we couldn't find any of them. So when you're like in the ferry, or you can, as I said, you can capture the wide expanse of the lake itself, and it is surrounded by these magnificent view of the Alps. And each day and each, I would say, each hour, the clouds add their own drama to the entire setting, and you can see the magnificent views change by the hour as the clouds move and as the sun sets and rises. So you can easily spend just sitting here and viewing the nature unfold its drama by the hour. Then the third spot is Mennagio. And here, this is also again a town that you can consider as a base for your Airbnb, for example, to set up a base and then explore all the cities, other villages. When you the views that we stayed mostly on across the shoreline only, and the view that you see from here, you can see the entire lake itself. This is the view that you get. And weather, while we stayed there, the weather was changing pretty fast, and the visibility also changes pretty quickly. So while it is very clear now, once it started raining and you could see the rain actually coming towards you from far, you could literally see, thing of rain falling there. Where here it's clear and then slowly coming towards you. And this is the view once we were also under the rain, so it's fully foggy, and that also offers some nice opportunities to capture some different kind of images. So this
But
one,
was it a day? Was it a day wasted, or like
sorry,
if it was raining all day?
I think even during the rain, actually, you can visit, and as I said, like rain offers its own charm of capturing the towns in a different way. Like the Varenna that you saw, the image of Varenna, that was one of them captured in the rain. It offers a very different view, which has its own charm. Like this one, when I shot this of a stranded boat, I was more thinking of that movie Life of Pi, you know. So like there's one solitary boat. So that's how that was the basis of making this one. Again, here are some other views of stranded boats by the lake. And this is the docking and drop-off point for the ferries. And another location I would say that is not exactly a location, but you should spend the evenings by the lakeside here. Just find a nice restaurant by the lakeside and enjoy some of Europe's finest scenery as the sun sets down. So for one of the evenings, we came back to our apartment just to see the sunset from how it looks from our apartment. So that's the sunset that we saw from our apartment balcony itself. And once the sun sets down, sunset, and if you are by the lakeside, the serenity along with those golden hues that you get, it's really amazing. It's peaceful and it's very colorful. You don't want, it's like you want to capture that moment and be there for a long time. In that
Amazing colors.
in that way, Lake Como offers a good amount of scenic seclusion, I would say, from the hustle and bustle of the city. So this is the view that I captured from my apartment window, as the glass there was reflecting part of my interior apartment, but also showing the night view of the lake itself. And this kind of sort of double exposure was not double exposure, but this reflection was giving a nice view of both sides of the things. So now let's move on to from a lakeside to more to the seaside villages.
There is a question here. What lenses do you take on a trip like this? What
Yeah.
was the gear that you used?
Okay. So I would say that it's better to use take the whatever you have with you. That's the best thing. Like as they say, the best camera is always the one that is with you. It depends on how you are going. Like if you are going on a photo trip or you are going with a family, on a family vacation. So everything depends on what you can carry. Now, I would always like to carry some telephoto lenses if I am alone on a photographic trip, because I like to play with lens compression techniques, which come out, which brings really nice photos, and play with the focal length and stuff. For example, for Lake Como, I had gone just as a family vacation with a kid. So I mean, all the photos were shot on my smartphone. I take and with a 3x lens adjustment. And usually, when you are on a family vacation, the priority is to hold the kid more than to hold the tripod. So you need to choose the gear accordingly based on whom you are going with.
With the multiple stairs, sometimes kids becomes more priority than the tripod.
Exactly. So yeah, so let's now from the lakeside to the seaside. So Cinque Terre is basically means five lands. It's in the Spezia province and by the Ligurian Sea. And these are basically five tiny fishing-based villages. And the five villages are Rio Maggiore, Manarola, Corniglia, Vernazza, and Monterosso. That's how the coastline actually looks. So these five villages, along with the natural region around it, have been declared as a national park, and they have been protected then. And it has also been declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, I think, since 1997. So a quick, each of these villages are very different uh, in their landscape, I would say. Like Monterosso at the very top is the only one which has a big beach, in fact, and it's mainly a bit more like higher luxury side or Bellagio like among the five villages. Then the village of Vernazza has more dramatic views, a good lively waterfront, and there's even a castle at the top. Then you have the have Corniglia, which is the only one which is not exactly by the lake, by the seaside. It is you need to climb up hill to reach that, and that produces one of the region's finest wines, in fact. Then Manarola is again good mix of vineyard, shops, and houses, and with a lot of houses hanging by the cliff. Then Rio Maggiore is like your everyday city, where again it has a very laid back view. And we took our Airbnb apartment in Rio Maggiore only. And one thing that you will find common is that you won't find cars in any of these places. Just like, and most of them you have to go via the local train, which is called the Cinque-Terre Express, and it takes just few minutes to go hop from one station to the other station. And each of these towns, given that they have a lot of rustic charm to them, it feels as if you have traveled back in time around 50, 60 years, or it's like a throwback to the old Italy, I would say. And I shot this photo from the railway station itself, just to signify some kind of like a time travel tunnel that takes you to a Italy of a different kind that you are not used to. And these mountain sides have tunnels where the trains take you from one village to the other, and even the views from the train are nothing short of breathtaking, I would say, with the bluish green Ligurian Sea on one side, the mountains, stepped mountains on the other side. The first village that we would look at is Monterosso. But I would say that given that this is much more of a touristy village and mainly for its beaches and more for swimming and stuff, uh, I found it, let's say, a less cozy and less with much less of a rustic charm. So not much images from here except for a beach view here. Then moving on to Corniglia, this is the one which is the only village is not by the seafront. So it is perched above a cliff and offers very stunning views of the Cinque Terre National Park. Now, from the train stop, you can either take a shuttle to the top of the cliff, or you can climb 382 steps that we did to come up, and you are treated to a very magnificent view of the entire seaside. And there is like a seaside terrace here from where you can actually see all the five villages, in fact. And one thing that we noticed in common was that in all the villages and everywhere we went, many houses had lemon trees in them. And it seems that Cinque Terre every year hosts some kind of a lemon festival as well. So the place is more known for its olives, wines, but also lemons as well. And Corniglia, as such, is known to produce white wine, and it's known for its winemaking skills since centuries. Now, the next one is Manarola. So this is how, again, the bird's eye view of the village looks like. As you can see that terrace farming is extremely common in all these villages. And from one of the hillsides, this is one of the boards that I saw. It says "Welcome to Paradise," and rightly so. So the houses that you see here are again, of pastel colors, and you can see like terraced mountains, greens on one side, and yellow, orange, pink on other side. And these houses are standing by the on the cliff sides, and with the blue green sea on the on one side. So moving back a bit from here, so this is the view that you get, and this also and this kind of a view is also like one of the cliched photographs of Cinque Terre that you will see on the net. Now, when you walk through the streets here, one interesting thing that you will observe is that we have cars parked in front of our houses, but they have boats parked in front of their houses. We passed by a ceramic store which had all these showcases, ceramic ware, and here also you can see that most of the ceramic ware depict lemons as their central theme. One interesting thing that I observed was that the windows were very different from the window that I've seen anywhere. So not only it opens in the normal fashion, but they had this smaller one as well that opens in a vertical direction. Then we move on to the next village, which is Vernazza. Again, this also is a very small town where it's just one straight road that leads to the harbor, and that is lined with cafes, souvenir shops, and boutiques. So if you see here, this is the railway station, and all you have to do is take a straight road there till the harbor. And it has a castle from, I think, many centuries old. And the view from the castle here is something like this, where again you can see all the terraced farming going on. By the harbor, you will see all the boats lined up, waiting to go to the sea. And again, the houses are there in various different colors. And here again, just like what we saw with Burano and with Varenna, here again, you have to take special permission for painting your houses, and you cannot choose things, colors by yourself. We came across a big poster as soon as you exit the railway station. There's a big poster there which depicts the flood of 2011. So in October 2011, there was an intense rainstorm that caused serious damage to both Monterosso and Vernazza. What happened was that torrents of water started coming down from the mountains, and it brought with it mud, debris, and stuff. And the landslide filled the streets, and the debris ended up being up to 4 meters deep. So you could assume that the entire ground floors got buried. The view that you see here, this was 2011 when the entire town got buried in mud. The same view I tried to capture how it is now, and that view, if you see now, looks like this, which is much more picturesque, and also shows that a lot of efforts have been done by the by the locals there to bring it up to where it was from where it was. And the village is surrounded by very steep terraced olive groves, which is supposed to produce one of the finest olive oils in the region. Now, as I said that, as part of my travel photography, I try to photograph a place at different points in time. Each of these villages, when you are there during the sunset hours, offers a much more magnificent view than it offers during the daytime as well. So the same view, I tried to capture it during the sunset time, and that looks something like this. And here I position myself in a way that I could capture the sun, the reflection of the sun in one of the windows in this building here, and the sunlight falling on the entire scene here. Now, this is what we see when we see on towards the village side. Now just turn 180 degrees and you would enjoy a magnificent view of the sunset itself, with the sun going behind the mountains, which is something like this. And even after the sun sets, it becomes even more interesting because you can then capture some nice silhouettes when you're standing there, and you can capture some nice silhouette photos after the sun has set. So coming on to the final village, which is Rio Maggiore. So that's how again the village looks thanks to Google Earth, bird's eye view of the village. But despite, I would say, a lot of tourists now coming to this place, still Cinque Terre is it's still, I would say, a bit undiscovered, and still you can find the colorful rustic charm and you can see how people live there as part of their daily lives. In short, it's not yet prey to urbanization. So our Airbnb hotel flat was something somewhere on this road, and here again you can see olives and oranges here, and it's easy to get a seaside view from just about anywhere here. And as the night falls, you will suddenly see that even the little bit amount of tourists that you see are no longer there, and the streets are pretty deserted, in fact. But that also gives its own charm. But as I said, like the evenings are the most interesting part of being at the seaside here, and you can capture some nice evening views. So here by again the seafront, I shot this one mainly because it was offering a very interesting view of this street lamp. The street lamp is not lit, but actually it is just showing the setting sun, and that's what the glow is coming from. And when you take the stairs and go towards the right, you get a very nice panoramic view, which is this one, and you can see that you can literally spend a good amount of time here, sitting either here or by the rock side, and spend hours enjoying the setting sun. And the buildings here, you see that they are of various different widths, I would say, and different heights and stuff. If you look closer, they come in all kind of form factors. For me, out of the 5 villages, I liked this one, the Rio Maggiore, to the best, in fact. But all of them have their own charm. So this 10-kilometer stretch of the Italian Riviera is something that you will not see anywhere else, with its own colorful rustic charm by the blue-green sea. So this is how it looks, let's say, during good enough light. But the magic comes, as I said, again, when you see it during the sunset. So I would say that Cinque Terre presents more like the epitome of colorful Italia, and with terraced mountainside on one side, and colored buildings by the cliffside, and a blue-green sea. If you look at each of these villages in separation, you will see that they're not of something magnificent, but when you take them together, it becomes a very picture-perfect destination. So these were the cameras that I used during my trip. So for Venice, it was like around 10 years ago, and I had used an entry-level camera, which was the Canon 1000D. For Lake Como, as I said, like it was a Galaxy S7. I had a 3x telephoto lens that helped in for some of the pictures. And more importantly, I used the Google camera port, which is because Google does computational photography to a very good extent, and the amount of dynamic range that you can capture is extremely good compared to your normal apps. Although I had a Galaxy phone, so with the port, I could use Google's computational photography with the hardware of this phone to capture what I want, what I wanted. Now, most of the time when you take pictures with the camera phone, then what you see is not what you get, far very far away from it. So what I do is that usually I ensure that I captured what I wanted and then try to, let's say, take the shot, maybe if I needed multiple exposures, and then post process it a bit to get to the scene that I wanted. Now there are, and then for Cinque Terre, I had used Galaxy S9 Plus again with the Google camera port. For most of the cases, I would recommend in like using um, a camera app that can provide you the best dynamic range. Now you cannot play like if you had a DSLR, like I would have loved to play with focal lengths and as I said, lens compression effects and many such things. But when you are traveling light, then if you have only the smartphone, then you need to make the best use of it and you need to tweak your phone to the best possible way that you can capture the maximum details that you can then know that once you load them in your favorite app of Lightroom or something in on desktop similar, you can capture back and get the same details that you would have had that if you had shot it using an SLR. So yeah, so that's the last slide of my presentation. So yeah, and any we can have questions if you have.
That was some amazing set of photos, Vijay. So I had been to Rome. I spent there few days, but I never even thought of visiting these places. And now I feel bad that I lost something as good as this. Looking at your photographs. So next time I visit, then definitely I will have to make it in my checklist. Cinque Terre especially. So we are open for questions. So if you have any questions, please post it. We have Vijay here. So till then, I have a question, Vijay. Like I am fond of Italian food, especially the Indian Italian food. Okay, so I am not sure of the genuine Italian food. What was your opinion about it? So you have been traveling
I
across.
Actually, me and my wife are big foodies and we love Italian food actually. So, and from every place we bought certain herbs like spices to make our own pasta at home and pizzas at home. Even now, actually, even last week, given that I was making this set of slides, so I said that let's take out the herbs that we had I still had it from my trip to Cinque Terre. So we did make pasta and all because like now that you can get some good Italian basil leaves here, so you can make some good Italian food at home now. So yeah, I think each town place has its own set of speciality, I would say, and you could enjoy like in Cinque Terre, being that there is this liquor called limoncino, which is pretty popular from there, and I think. And as I said, like olives, and more importantly, the Cinque Terre region and the region around are known for their pesto sauce, which is made from basil leaves. Basil, like for those, is basically a variant of our tulsi only, so you can actually taste some of the tulsi thing. So I like pesto sauce a lot. So yeah, I think if you are a vegetarian, especially, I mean, Italy offers a lot of variety to it. I mean, you will not find that you are, you have to starve for vegetarian food, especially in Italy. There are a lot of options, and it tastes amazing.
Okay. Okay, we have a question from Sachin Basin. Is there a specific point to book these gondolas, or one can hop on and hop off any spot?
Yeah, actually, there are many places from where you can simply do hop on, hop off. but the most common ones are near the Rialto Canal or the St. Mark's Square. But there are gondola guys who are there at different places, because people also get down. Like I think they have half an hour, 1 hour kind of thing, so you can find them at many places. In fact.
Okay, are these expensive, the gondolas?
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
it
yeah.
is very touristy, right? So,
If it's a once in a lifetime visit for you, you don't see that part of the expense, I would say.
okay. We have a question from Satish sir. Do you have to take permission to take photos wherever you want?
I think yes. There, I didn't see any place. Um, maybe I think maybe in one of the churches in Venice, maybe, but I don't remember exactly. But I think for almost all the places, there is no issues in. There are no issues in taking photos.
Okay. My personal opinion, yeah, because I have been there. So flash photos is not allowed in most of the places, especially cathedrals. But otherwise,
Yeah.
they allow, even in museums, everywhere they allow photography. Okay, a question from Kashi Subramaniam. How about the number of days you have to cover these places? Is required to cover these places?
Again, depends on everybody's own preferences. But for me, I like to cover very few places in a region and see them multiple times, as I said, in different points of the day. So at least 3 to 4 days is a minimum, I would say, for each place. Now you can do more, you can do less. Again, it depends on how relaxed you want the trip to be, and how much time you have. So if you want to have a really relaxed trip and not do anything, you can spend an entire week at Lake Como. So that's also is possible, or you can have cover it up within couple of days as well.
Yes, and the budget also matters.
Yeah.
Another thing is like their transportation is very convenient, so you can get to any place at a very low cost, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
public transportation.
exactly. Now, given that there are ferries and trains, they are fairly inexpensive, in fact. So uh, you can again do hop on, hop off from one place to another place on this Vaporetto, the water buses, or if you feel a bit adventurous, you can even take your own rental. So like at Lake Como, I had taken a rental motorboat, and we went to all the shores, the different villages, using our own rental boat. Again, the if you are driving your own motorboat, it offers some nice advantages, because you can drive where you want and get some nice views. But then at that time, like it was my wife and my 5-year-old kid. Uh, at that time, we didn't know, but now while I was making this, I asked my wife a few days ago that had you known that we did our boating in one of the deepest lakes in Europe, would you have allowed me to even take that boat in the first place? And her answer was absolutely not.
Okay. So we have a question from Murali Santanam. Wonderful guided tour. Any tips on what is the best time of the year to visit the place?
I think, especially in Europe, is July, August are vacation times. Like there are also school vacation times, and generally most of the people are vacationing around that time. I would say that if you avoid that period, you can get a much better visit, because it is in those months that places are much more crowded. I think we went to Cinque Terre in April, and it was really, the weather was excellent, not yet touristy. Lake Como was also in April, again before summers, not before, like all the tourists had come. Something around that time frame.
Uh, I open for two more questions. Okay. Someone Pramod Stephen. He needs some tips on the camera app that you use.
Okay. Right. So I think that, as I said, the Google camera port, and thanks to the developers out there who have actually taken it from the Pixel phones and ported it for many smartphone brands. So you can head over, you can search on Google and download the APK and install it for your own phone model, the dedicated one, and tweak or tweak with it, and not overdo also on that, I would say, mainly because it tends to Google camera port, it can work differently in different phones as it was mainly meant for Pixel. So you just have to ensure that what you would have loved to capture as the scene is what you want to capture, or set the settings in a way that you are able to capture that. And I like to work on my photographs backwards, that the scene is set in my mind, then I compose it, and then I shoot it. And then, since the scene is set in my mind, when I go back, let's say after the vacation, when I load it up, I'm able to bring that back, or I take the necessary amount of shots to bring it back as well. For example, sometimes you could actually take HDR panorama using the Google camera port and stitch it. Like for many places, what I did was that instead of using any panorama feature in the phone, it is better that you take individual shots and try to take HDR shots and then merge them offline, which gives a much better dynamic range and quality than using any of these apps. And also, I found that when you are using the smartphone camera, again, even now I have the S10 Plus, but consistently I've seen that nowadays smartphone makers are offering so many lenses, but all the other lenses, if you really want to do some nice photography or decent one, the primary lens is the only one that actually does the captures it in the right way. I think maybe the sensor quality is different, but even if they say telephoto, wide, and all those things, I think the best details and the best dynamic range is captured only from the primary sensor. That's my experience that I have seen. So whatever is needed, I usually use only the primary sensor and nothing else.
A question from my side. So, if our viewers want to follow your work, so can we follow you on Instagram or somewhere on the social media?
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram handle is Vijay NVR,
Okay,
and
we will bring it up.
yeah,
So we will bring up the handle of Vijay's Instagram, so you can follow him on his Instagram page. We'll bring it up. Okay, we have a question from Chandrasekhar. Have you tried any abstract photography with so many windows and colorful buildings, boats, etc.?
that's a good question. Actually, I had few. I actually didn't bring this up here. Yeah, especially with Venice, not only with the the boats and the colors, you can do some nice abstract photography with the reflection of those buildings in the water also, and those bring up very nice views.
Okay. Okay, we have a question from Madhu Kakde. How expensive are the hotels in these places and the rental boat, motorboat?
Everything depends on how early you book, actually, and because the price varies significantly depending on the season where you when you want to go, and how early you have booked for it. If you book for it 4 months ago, yeah, you will get a very good price. But then, like us, when we see that our available window is in the next 2 to 3 weeks or 1 month's time, that we think that there is a window available, it's already very less time. Then you might have to either take the apartment a bit away from the mainland, which has its own charm as well. Like for Lake Como, we took it not at Varenna but slightly off at Fumilate, and that has its own nice charm as well.
Okay. We have another question from Santosh Bade. Is this app also known as Google Lens? I am not finding it otherwise.
Yeah, it's not on Play Store actually. You need to install it separately. Search. You need to find Google like Google Camera port for your own camera or smartphone module, and that will come up, bring up some links. In fact,
Okay.
I think there's this developer called Calzavedo or somebody like that who has a site where he has maintained different and yeah, it's only for Android. It's not for iOS actually, given that Pixel is an Android phone. So for Android phones, this guy has put up a web page where he has the ports for different smartphone brands and smartphone processor models, I would say. So you need to look up on it and then also do a lot of hit and trial because it will not come directly in the initial go that you get everything right. With some hit and trial, you'll be able to set up the right configuration. And with the latest versions, they even include astrophotography as well.
We will post the URL for this application on the comment section, so you can follow it soon. And this is for our viewers. We have a question from Sandeep Dattraju. Any comments on using raw photo from a mobile camera, or you have captured only JPEGs from the app?
Yeah. So I had this dilemma multiple times when capturing whether I should now take it as a raw or also the phone offers to capture in both the modes. So many a times I captured in both RAW and JPEG, but what I found was that the dynamic range that you can get in a single shot once the Google app has captured the photo is much better and much more usable than you go with a RAW one.
We have brought up the URL where you can download the Google Camera Port app, so you can refer to this. So, do we have any other questions? We will have two more questions. So, Vijay, it is really impressive how you have captured these pictures with just a cell phone. I can't even imagine traveling somewhere where I can be sure that I might not be visiting again without a DSLR camera. So it was really courageous as well as really brilliant way of execution.
Yeah, actually, I do own OMD. It's not like, given that we are all photography enthusiasts here and we like to, let's say, be proud of our gear that we use also, apart from the photographs. So this is not to say that you should now take your phone and start playing shooting only with it because a DSLR has its own merits. As I said, uh, if I had a chance, I would actually take that only and a DSLR instead of mobile phone. It all depends on what your theme of your travel is, right? With family or vacation and things. I do have a mirrorless camera, which is this OMD EM10, I think, yeah, Mark II,
Mhm.
and a good assorted set of lenses. So I use them for portrait photography for my kid, and and also for let's say for some telephoto shots as well. So I do use them at times when I am alone or visiting someplace alone or with let's say other friends who are into photography. So that's how I split the choice of gear as such.
Apart from travel photography, what excites you the most? What kind of genre?
I would say that if you have a kid growing up in the home, you don't need any other theme.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question from Santosh Bade. Is Cinque Terre easy to reach?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to reach actually. So you can, given that there is a train Cinque Terre Express that runs, so from the nearest town, or you can act. So what we did, we drove till Rio Maggiore, and then we parked the car there, and then we visited all the villages. Even actually, we couldn't even go till Rio Maggiore because I think it's cars are not allowed till the village. So somewhere a bit outside we parked it, and then we walked till our apartment. But yes, it's easily reachable. It's not an issue. And many people like the nearest big port town from there is called Spezia, and many people even take apartments there, or they park the cars there and take the train from there and visit villages.
Okay. A question from Satish sir. Your images are a bit oversaturated. Is it because of mobile shots? And also, have not taken any locals portrait. They are very smart looking.
You mean the photos of the people there?
Yes, of the locals. Yeah.
I guess so.
They are very smart looking people, the Italians. So, Satish sir's question is why you have not taken their pictures, local portraits.
Actually, so I do have photos of people like in Venice. I think in Burano and Murano there were some people of the photos of people who are doing this glass making. Now, especially for Lake Como and Cinque Terre, what I saw was that cell phone does not bring the good portrait shots as well, and you need to take like that's where I think it's a good question because that's where the DSLR comes really in picture because you can be far away and yet take nice street shots and photos of people. But with the cell phone, you are highly limited in that genre of pictures. So another reason to carry your DSLR, I would say.
And especially when you're with your family, interacting with locals gets limited, right? So,
Yeah. Hmm.
okay. We are still open for one more question. Okay. We don't have any more questions. So it's time to wind up the presentation. So it was really a visual like treat to all of us, Vijay. Thanks for taking us to Italy and showcasing these water bodies. These towns are really, I would rather say, really cute to look at. So it was really amazing experience. So thank you all who attended the presentation, and we will see you in 2021. So have a safe end of the year. Have a great celebrations for New Year, and farewell.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and
Thank you all.
wishing you a healthier 2021, and hopefully a lot of opportunities to go outside and shoot with our favorite gear.
Yes. Don't forget to join the next session on January 3rd. So the presentation will be by Dr. Harinarayan Salunki, titled "From Guns and Scalpels to Telephotos." So don't miss this on 3rd of January. And again, the December edition of Drishti magazine is up on stands. So visit the YPS Bengaluru website and download your copy. And if you're not a YPS member, drop a message to the YPS number 9513 YPS DLR. That is 9513 977 257, and we will have you subscribed so that we can send across to you the Drishti copy for December. Thank you, everyone. Uh, if you're not a member yet, it is really easy to become a YPS member now. You can visit the YPS Bengaluru website or scan the QR code on your screen. and it will take you directly to the membership page. If you are watching now on YouTube, make sure you like the video, share it with your friends, and also click on the bell icon so that you can receive all the notifications in your future for all our future videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are also available on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere with the same handle as YPS Bengaluru. Do follow us. Thank you. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.